You are full. You are whole and complete. You're born whole and complete. This whole thing about something missing. There's nothing missing. There's no.
And now for something completely different.
Hey everybody, welcome back. This is your host, Dr. Tony Dufresne, along with your other lovely host, Lexi Rodriguez.
What's up?
And just like last week, she's in studio.
Yay.
So,
I'm here. We're knocking it out.
Yes, we're knocking it out. We're getting making it happen. This week, we want to talk about the one thing that will keep you single forever. If you don't know yourself, this is what's going to happen. You're going to seek constant exterior validation of your worth, which will put a lot of pressure on your significant other. You will constantly need them to validate your worth. I mean, but how many times does that happen?
Yeah.
Then what happens is you put all this pressure on them, and then when they come home and they say, and if they had a bad day, and they say hi, or they're a little short with you, then you take it personally.
Right.
And that which is really not the case. But so now all of a sudden your relationship is on eggshell. To validate who you are and to be secure and to be solid and to be authentic, you don't need anybody to be in a certain way. Especially your significant other, because they're always the ones that you're going to use the most to gauge where you're at. Especially if you come from an ego position, which is not a good position. Yeah, that's a very walking on eggshells things. That's a thing where you need things from them instead of wanting things from them. Mm-hmm. Huge difference. Yeah. If you need something from somebody, you're not in a good place.
Your expectations are too high.
Well, that's what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah,
here.
like your expectations are way too high.
And that's the whole thing with the last thing I was going to say is that not knowing yourself is what happens. You'll never be fully satisfied with your relationship because your expectations will be high. You'll keep moving the carrot. There'll be a lot of passive aggressive. A lot of times people go into relationship and they will search for somebody that subconsciously they think they can resolve their old big hot button issue with that person. Yeah. So let's say if their dad was like a traveling salesman and was never around and was never emotionally available, they'll find somebody who's really never around and never emotionally available.
Crazy, right?
Yeah. Well, and it's like and if you ask them logically. Yeah, like a girlfriend. You ask a girlfriend logically, what do you want in somebody? They're going to say, I want somebody that's there for me. Yet, interestingly enough, they'll be attracted to the guy that's not there and that's traveling all the time. Yeah. And they're not sure about it because you know what happens is subconsciously they want to bring somebody in. Yeah. And I call it giving them the suitcase. So they have the suitcase full of unresolved issues from their dad. And so they find somebody, and then you'll give that suitcase to that person. Right. Unbeknownst to them, they have no idea of anything involved in a suitcase at all. Yeah. And all of a sudden, you give it to them, and now the expectation is, okay, now I'm going to change you, or you're going to have to answer to all these things that happened to me when I was a kid. It'll never happen because you can't resolve an issue through somebody else. Right.
And I think that knowing yourself resolves that issue, because if you know yourself and you know your emotional patterns and you know where these emotions come from, that's why I think therapy and coaching is such a big deal. When you do start to really get to know yourself and you hop on that train, it comes flooding in and you're just like, dope, this is cool, this is cool. Then you can design your relationship the way it's going to work for you because you know yourself. Then you build and develop what type of relationship will work for you.
When you talked about confidence, about knowing yourself, the confidence thing is just more of a deeper understanding of who you are. It's not confident in you doing things right all the time. It's just it's just confident in you knowing your warts are, and knowing your positives and knowing your negatives and knowing what you can give and what you cannot in a relationship. And really, because you need to come into any relationship, and you being whomever is out there, you got to come into every relationship with a solid understanding of what you have to put on the table to share with somebody else. Yeah. And if you don't,
that's what it's about.
And if you don't know that, and if you go in with a wanting to deal with unresolved issues, then you're going to get exactly what you're going to get.
And if you're not willing to share those dope traits about yourself with someone, you're not ready to be in a relationship.
Well, and you will be single.
Yeah.
And you might be in a relationship for a little while. And
I'm screaming. Why am I screaming?
Why are you screaming? I don't know. There's a passion. So what I want to do is talk about three very simple, super, super effective things you can do to learn more about yourself.
Go for it.
3. It's super easy, super effective. First thing's therapy. Coaching, therapy, right? Easy.
It is that.
Hey, I've been through it. The second thing is journaling.
Yeah.
Journaling,
Huge. We
journaling,
talk about it all the
journaling,
time.
journaling. Do at least 2 pages. The first page you're going to be in your head. It's gonna about 1.5 pages. You'll be good, and then finish up. If you do that every single day, you don't even have to read it. In fact, I don't even read. I don't even read my journaling. But when I do come up against stuff,
some people shouldn't read it.
Well,
some people
some people should, because it's not about what you write.
Yeah.
Now, certain things will happen when you do journal. You'll write something, you go, whoa, and all of a sudden you'll realize that you just tapped into this subconscious underlying thing that completely resonates with you.
It's
and
legit magic.
And could change. It is, but you have. But the only way to get through it is if you get out of your head first. And the only way to get out of your head is you got to do at least a page and a half. So journaling is the second thing. The third thing is mindful meditation. There's research that shows the effectiveness of mindful meditation. It literally reforms neural pathways in your head.
It's crazy. I'm reading a book called Altered Traits right now, and it's basically the science of mindful meditation and all the neurology behind it.
It's presence. It's acute awareness in the moment. There's not one single thing on the face of this earth that the human race knows that's more effective at literally game-changing your life than mindful meditation. I would suggest highly, just as an intro, if somebody wants to get into it, to go to Headspace. It's an app. The first 10 sessions are free. 3 minutes, and he just kind of introduces you into the principles of it. I've been doing it on and off for 20 some odd years.
Yeah.
And it is, and I can tell you right now, people say, oh yeah, wow, I can't believe you're that old, or wow, you great, or wow, you have a great, I go, you know what the secret is? I don't give a shit about 99% of things. I literally don't. I don't. And the reason why I don't give a shit about 99% of things is because I understand that I don't have to. And the reason why I understand that I don't have to is because I've been doing meditation and I've rerouted my neural pathways, so I don't react. I don't react to stuff.
Exactly.
Then what comes with knowing? What comes with knowing is effective communication.
Yeah.
Because if you know yourself, you can effectively communicate what
It's
you
all
want,
there.
what you don't want, what your expectations are to the other person. And that's what starts things right off the bat.
And I'm not saying run from a
positive
relationship
foundation.
if you don't think you're ready for it, because I think if you're into someone, be into them. That's cool. Like I said before, if you feel a way, you feel that way for a reason. So if you're really into someone and you're kind of hesitant about the relationship thing, because it's a responsibility.
Things might go off the rails too.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that if you do all that stuff, everything's gonna be great and perfect. Now, the relationships are messy because you're dealing with two different entities.
Yeah.
But the key is that the more you know yourself, the more you won't make initial mistakes starting things off in the wrong direction.
And when you start to make a mistake, you'll be like, "Hold up, we need to have a conversation."
Right, and then you communicate it, and then you won't waste any time.
Yeah.
You'll be with somebody, but then you realize it's just not going to work for one reason or another.
And you'll move on.
And it has nothing to do with them. It just has to do with